After a 4-game homestand, the Hurricanes take it on the road, and it's another Metro Division showdown in the nation's capital.
You're Locked On Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to a Friday edition of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you to the Everyday for making this your first listen of the day. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, talking everything about your Carolina Hurricanes. I'm your host, Zach Martin. I'm the credentialed Carolina Hurricanes beat writer over at the Hockey Writers. I'm also the co-host of the Surgecast, which is a weekly Carolina Hurricanes podcast, along with all my duties here at Locked On Hurricanes. Got a fun Friday episode for you guys as we get to preview the Carolina Hurricanes road trip as they started off in Washington, D.C. against the Washington Capitals. What are the keys to the game? Who are the players to watch? And get to do a little club hockey talk as the NC State Icepack, NC State's club hockey team, will be taking on the Carolina Hurricanes Alumni in January. But before we jump into all of that, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Now, like I said, the Hurricanes just finished 4-game homestand where they've basically played a lot of the Metro Division teams over the last couple. But now we get to have more Metro Division hockey as they start a 3-game road trip over the next 4 days. On Friday, they get to face the Washington Capitals, have Saturday off, and then it's Sunday in New York against the Rangers, and then it's on Monday against the Nashville Predators for a Eastern Conference, Western Conference showdown. Now, coming into this game, it is going to be a 7 o'clock p.m. drop. It's going to be on FanDuel Sports South, and of course, 99.9 The Fan. Hurricanes 20-10-1. The Washington Capitals 21-8-2. The last time these two teams met was back on November 3rd. 4 or 5 o'clock start, and the Hurricanes won that game 4-2. Now, this is the second game of a 4-game season series where the Washington Capitals will be visiting Carolina once again on April 2nd for a 7 o'clock start. And then just over a week later on April 10th, the Hurricanes will be back in D.C. to face the Caps. So basically, you got November, December, then a long break until April, and then you got two showdowns in the last couple, starting off in April. Now, looking at the players over the last 5 games and who are the main keys to points, goals, and assists. Well, how about Shane Gostisbehere? 6 points in the last 5 games. He also leads the team with 5 assists in that span. Of course, Andrei Svechnikov with 3 goals. Now for the Capitals, Jacob Chychrun, 6 points, 5 of those being assists, and then Tom Wilson, of all people, has been leading the way for the Caps with 4 goals. Now, this is where we go over the team stats. And, of course, we know every time we talk about this, it's either, you look at, on paper, it sounds good. It sounds a certain way. But also, you got to play the games. And we've seen where the Hurricanes, on paper, should be better than some teams. But, welcome to, as I always say, Gary Bettman's NHL. Anyone can beat anyone. But when you look at the actual team stats so far, going into game 32 of this season, the Hurricanes are 5th on the power play at 27.3, 3rd on the penalty kill at 85.3, 6th in the faceoff percentage at 52.4. Goals for, how about a 3.61? And that's after getting another 4-goal game most recently against the New York Islanders. And then goals allowed, how about 8th at 2.77? So you're basically within the top 10 in every category, and your lowest is 8th. Now, looking at the Washington Capitals, they have some single digits, but they have a couple double digits themselves. They are 18th on the power play at 20.8, 6th in the penalty kill at 83.8, 18th in the faceoffs at 50.4, and then goals for. They're actually scoring more goals per game than the Hurricanes are. Second in the entire AHL at 3.81, and they've given up just 2.68 goals against per game, which is 7th. So looking at that in terms of the goals for and goals against, they're pretty much almost dead even, with them being 7th in the Hurricanes, 8th in goals allowed per game, and then goals for, 2nd for the Capitals, 4th for the Hurricanes. So you're talking about two teams who are within the top 10 of goals allowed, more so to the 10 area, but goals for, they're in the top 5, with the Capitals scoring the second most amount of goals per game in the NHL. And that's crazy to think that even at one point the Hurricanes were averaging 4. But this really should be an interesting game for the fact that you're talking two teams who pretty much can shut down opponents while also scoring in bunches. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get another 4-2 game or 4-3 or a 5-4 barn burner. Just because of the fact that, yes, both of these teams can shut their opposition down. Let's not forget they also can score a bunch of goals as well, especially the Carolina Hurricanes, where in their 31 games so far this season, they've gotten 20 games of scoring 4 or more goals per game. Now, looking at the goaltending situation, of course, Pierre Kachekov 13-5-0 with a 247 goals against, a 902 save percentage, and of course, in this most recent game has a shutout. At the Washington Capitals, Logan Thompson is 12-2-2 with a 248 and a 911 save percentage, and then Charlie Lindgren 9-6 with a 269 and an 02 save percentage. And now we know Desa Tokarski, 1 goal allowed, .964 save percentage for the Hurricanes. But it definitely makes it interesting when you look at the goaltending on the one side, where Lindgren is 9-6, but his goals against is pretty good. It's a sub 2.7 and is over 900 in save percentage. While you look at Logan Thompson, former, Vegas Golden Knight, 12-2-2. Like I said, with the 911 save percentage and a sub 2.5. Definitely going to be very interesting, the fact of who the Caps come right now, because you're talking about two goaltenders in Thompson and Kachekov, who are basically 0.01 of a difference. Save percentage is pretty dang near close, and you're talking about records that are almost similar outside of the fact that Kachekov hasn't seen an overtime, hasn't lost an overtime when Logan Thompson has. Now, looking at just overall of how this game is going to be, is that it's your third straight Metro Division game. You played Columbus this past Sunday. You played the Islanders on Tuesday. You've had the last 2 days off. And now you get the Capitals on Friday for your third straight Metro game. Then you get the Rangers 2 days later for your fourth straight. So you're having 4 straight Metro games, with one of them being in the first half of a back-to-back. Then you face the Nashville Predators. Then you basically get Tuesday to Thursday all next week off for the Christmas break. And then you get 3 more Metro games to finish out 2024, and with them being a home-and-home back-to-back against the New Jersey Devils next week on Friday and Saturday. And then New Year's Eve, you got the Columbus Blue Jackets. So you're looking at over this, going from this past Sunday to basically New Year's Eve, it's all about one game, is all Metro Division games. And this is something that's going to be very huge for the Hurricanes. And in that, while you are giving yourself some distance from the 4th place Pittsburgh Penguins, you want to keep building on that, because right now with all these Metro Division games, you have games in hand on the New Jersey Devils. You play the same amount of games as the Capitals, and you get to play them, tonight on Friday. So you want to take advantage of it to get back within 1 of Washington. Of course, then you're going to still have games in hand in New Jersey. Then you give yourself a distance. So this is going to be one of those games where they always talk about, the 4-point swing. It matters when it's against division opponents, and it really is, because this is one of those games where you have to find a way to make your mark and give yourself more opportunities, because the more points you get in your division, the farther you can get yourself ahead, and then there's another game closer to locking up a playoff spot, because you want to be in that top 3. So the Hurricanes are in a good spot. Yes, the Capitals have lost 2 straight, but if you look at how they've been, it's surprising how good the Capitals have been, and no game was easy, but you've beaten them already once this year. Granted, it was way in early November, but you're still in a good opportunity to take advantage of when you need to. And if they can play a 60-minute game of hockey like we saw against the Islanders, I think they have a good shot against the Capitals, which, looking at the keys of the game, that might be one of them. But there's also other keys to the game as well, and also actual players that we need to keep an eye on. Who is that? Well, stick around as we'll go over the keys of the game and players to watch here in a second on a Friday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. If you love sports, you're gonna love PrizePicks, the best place to turn your sports knowledge into real money. Whether it's hockey, football, or any of your favorite sports, PrizePicks makes it easy to get in on the action. You can now win up to 1,000 times your money on PrizePicks. Plus, this holiday season, they're giving away $30+ million in rewards during Picksmas and offering 2 free picks in December. And when your picks hit, PrizePicks makes it easy to cash out. You can get your money as fast as 15 minutes. Now, for this week on PrizePicks, I'm eyeing the hockey board. I'm kind of looking at maybe Seth Jarvis could get more than 2 points or maybe even Sebastian Aho might get, 5 shots. But it's so simple to make my picks and have fun with friends while potentially cashing out fast. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's right, $50 instantly. Where can you do that? Well, you can do that at PrizePicks, where you can run your game. Welcome back to segment 2 of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day. At the end of segment 1, talked about how we're going to jump into the keys of the game and the players to watch. And for this one, it's kind of simple just because of what the Hurricanes are on right now. So you're on a 2-game winning streak. You had a close game. You won 4-1 against Columbus. Great game by Dustin Tokarski. You go and beat the Islanders 4-0, kind of get a revenge on what happened on Long Island. And for me, it's you have to just carry the momentum from both of those games and play a full 60 minutes. Now, while they did win 4-0 against the Islanders, you could definitely tell they kind of let off a little bit because they went over a span of 16 minutes without a shot. And even during the second intermission, when they were talking to Ryan Brind'Amour said, they're up 2 goals, kind of getting a little bit complacent, but we are getting back into our game. And while you could do that against the Islanders or even the Jackets, which even still is something you don't really want to do, especially how the NHL is today, with where the Capitals are at, 3 points ahead, they're on a really, like I said, despite losing 2 in a row and they lost in a comeback, that the Chicago Blackhawks had. The Capitals right now are still a team that are dangerous, that even without Alexander Ovechkin, like I said, are scoring at a pace that's second best in the league for goals for. So this is a game where you're going to have to be dialed in from the jump, and you got to make Capital One Arena silent. So, and then basically keep your foot on the gas. Like, this isn't a game where you can go in, maybe get up by a goal or 2, then kind of take off a little bit, and then kind of pick it back up later in the game or later in the middle frame, which the second period hasn't been the kindest of the Hurricanes this year. You don't want to wait until the third period against the Capitals. It doesn't matter who's in net because that team right now has firepower. Like, Mangiapane's playing really well for them. Jacob Chikrin's leading in points over the last 5 games. Tom Wilson's been scoring a lot. You just got Dylan Strome. PLD is there. I mean, this is still a team that could make you pay, especially when they got good goaltending and Logan Thompson if they run with them. So this is where, for the Hurricanes, this is a complete 60 minutes of hockey. There's no coming in, getting out to the lead, and taking it off and waiting. It's no, you got to play a full 60 minutes of Canes hockey and not let up. And, at the beginning of the season, you saw complete games night in, night out. Ever since the Utah game, you get some games where they're dialed in, some games where they kind of start slow, some where they start hot, then take off, and then try to pick up again. There has been a mix of good and meh and oh boy type of hockey from the Canes. And this is a game where Metro, like, it's not just the fact that Metro Division points are on the line. This is Metro Division points against a team who's 3 points ahead of you with a 4-point swing involved. Because if you win, you are, if you win in regulation, you're only one back at the Capitals. If you win in overtime, you're still 2 back with the same amount of games. The last thing you really want to do is lose, because while, yes, you are somewhat comfortably ahead of the Penguins, you don't want to fall farther behind against the Washington Capitals, who are in second, even farther behind the Devils are in first. So this is a situation to where a complete game needs to happen. And I think that's pretty much my key to the game, is just find a way to get it done. If you had to make a second key to the game, special teams. Special teams has to be on it from the jump. Like, while the power play while they're still doing pretty well, they're 5th in the AHL. It's, there's been some games that have been kind of quiet, but, the penalty kill's been really well. The Washington power play has not been, they're 18th, but it's a good opportunity where if you're the penalty killers, you go have another perfect night again. And if you're the power play, while you're going up against the 6th best penalty kill, I think you got to find a way to make special teams, a big factor in this game if there's going to be a lot of penalties and stuff like that. So we know that's kind of the thing with how these games usually go. So if there is a second one, outside of playing a full 60 minutes of Hurricanes hockey, it's making the special teams work in your favor on both sides, because you're going to have to capitalize on the Capitals, essentially. Now, players to watch, going to make this kind of easy. We're going to have our usual 3 players. Now, you don't really know who's kind of in goalie up. I'm kind of figuring they're probably going to go with Pierre Kachekov. So I'm keeping my eye on him, because he got the shot against the Islanders, his first of the season. He's 13-5-0, the .902 save percentage, and 247 goals against, like we talked about back in segment 1. I think if he's in net, which is a good possibility that he will be, because it's against a tough division rival, he's going to be the guy. So I'm looking at him to basically show who, like, basically once again play his game. Hopefully, not basically having fans like basically have to hold their breath. So hopefully he's more of staying in the net this time for this game, and just being able to build off the momentum from the Islanders win and come in huge for the Hurricanes, because you're going to need it. Because like I said, you're talking about the team who's scoring the second most amount of goals per game on average in the league. So while playing a full 60 minutes, Piotr's got to play a full 60 in the net of just being dialed in hockey. If you keep it at 2 goals or less, I think you're in a good spot if you're the Carolina Hurricanes. Now, looking at the defense side of things, I'm actually looking at a defensive pair, and it's Orlov and Sheffield, because right now they're a combined plus 36 on the Hurricanes right now. Orlov with 15 points, Sheffield with 9. They both have 3 goals, but that plus 36 is a big factor. And this is the type of game where you want that plus 36 between those two to get amplified. So that way you're keeping the Caps off the board. You're finding a way to basically find a way to neutralize them, but also help your team out as well. So if you see them go to a plus 38 or a plus 39 against the Capitals, then you had a great night, because then you just made your game and season even better with those two. So right now, I would say that's a defensive pair I'm watching for, is Orlov Sheffield. Take that plus 36. If you can get to plus 38 or even 39, that would be great. But those are the 2 guys on the defense I'm keeping an eye on. Now, for the offensive side of things, of course, you could say Marty Necas, 44 points in 31 games. This, for me, is I'm looking at Andrei Svechnikov, because this is a game where, he's got 12 goals, 25 points. He's a -5 right now. In terms of shots, he does lead all forwards with 97. I'm more so looking at him to basically try to find a way to not get into the penalty box, because you need him in the biggest of ways. Because yes, while he doesn't do a lot of penalty killing, you want him on the ice for a lot of opportunities. And while he has been scoring a lot, he's been scoring some goals as of late. I think this is one of those games where you want him to kind of be that guy to take that next step once again and keep showing why he's such a dynamic player as your power forward, big body player on that, on the second line with Kotkaniemi and Nietzsche. So for me, this is a Andrei Svechnikov type game to where he needs to come out and basically make his presence felt on the back check, forecheck, all zones, two-way game, using the power. He's using his power forward body, scoring goals, setting up teammates. He basically needs to play a complete game because Rod's been saying he wants to see more. He knows there's a lot more in Andrei Svechnikov's game, and I think these are one of those games, because especially the fact it's a Metro game, for him to step up and be that dude. So for me, it's Pierre Kochetkov in goal, if he does start, which I think he will be. Then you got Orlov Chatfield as your defensive pair, who's been putting on a clinic in terms of being on the ice for a lot of goals with a plus 36. And then once again, Andrei Svechnikov being that guy for the Carolina Hurricanes, because he needs to play a complete 60-minute game, stay out of the box, and just do what he needs to do to make a statement game against the Capitals. But that pretty much does it for the Hurricanes Capitals type things. Now, while this is still Hurricanes related, we are going to talk about the NC State Icepack and the Hurricanes Alumni. So stick around. I'll do that here in a second on a Friday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers give bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Once again, that's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Welcome back to segment 3 of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day. So like I said, the end of segment 2, we're going to talk about the NC State Icepack and the Carolina Hurricanes Alumni. And, we all know it's NC State Wolfpack, but since they're the club hockey team, it is the Icepack, which is very, very cool. Great name, great jerseys. I mean, if you haven't seen their jerseys, it's absolutely amazing. I love the Icepack club team. So they announced on Thursday afternoon that they're actually going to be taking on the Carolina Hurricanes. Now, it's not the actual Hurricanes of the current roster, but it's the alumni. Now, we all know that the other school in the triangle play the Carolina Hurricanes. Of course, that's UNC hockey. They did face the alumni team, and the alumni team, rightfully so, took care of business against the Tar Heels. Now, this will be very interesting to see how the Icepack does against the Canes. But for this one, it's not to where it's at a, smaller type practice rink or area, stuff like that. This is actually going to be at the Lenovo Center. So Monday, January 13th at 7 p.m. puck drop at Lenovo. It's going to be the NC State Icepack against the Hurricanes Alumni. And it will feature Eric Staal, Rod Brennamore, Cam Ward, Ray Whitney, Tim Gleason, and more. And I know that's going to be guys like Mike Commodore, Aaron Ward, and a bunch of other guys as well. So you get to see a lot of Hurricanes alumni, and I think even Derek Stepan is going to be there too. So there's going to be some names that are going to be in this game. And, of course, this is to help with all the festivities that are going on with the Eric Staal retirement jersey that's going to happen on the 12th. So this will be an Eric Staal jersey retirement celebration, and there's going to be raffles there's going to be Chuck-a-Puck, there's going to be, game-worn jerseys that are going to be auctioned off. There's all going to be a whole bunch of different things going on. Of course, like I said, there's going to be a celebration for Eric Staal's jersey. And now for the fact that tickets will go on sale December 20th, and there's certain different range of tickets that are going to be on sale. You're talking like $75 for some, $100 for others. They got your general admissions as well. So, reserve seating and all that. But this would be a great opportunity for, you get to see the Icepack go up against the Carolina Hurricanes. The fact that you're celebrating Eric Staal with his jersey retirement, and the fact that it's now you saw that UNC played them. Now it's going to be NC State playing the Hurricanes as well. You're talking a slew of the name of names. Like I said, you got Eric Staal playing in this one, Rod Gleason, Ray Whitney, Mike Commodore, Aaron Ward. Like, you're talking a really stacked. When you look at the 06 roster, you're like, wow, that team was insanely good for what they had. And the fact that you pretty much have got almost all of them back, plus you're adding a guy like Derek Stepan as well, who's more of a recent Hurricane. It's going to be definitely fun to watch. And the fact that you're going to be doing it at the Lenovo Center is very awesome as well. So it's definitely exciting for the fact that you're looking at an opportunity to grow more of club hockey, where, we had the outdoor, game for UNC and NC State, the day after the Stadium Series game, which was, the biggest club hockey attendance. It was like 25 or 26,000 people out there at Carter Finley. Of course, the Governor's Cup, being one of the main ones, that's always at Lenovo Center almost every year, essentially. Like those, like UNC NC State hockey for club is it's basically grown over the last couple of years. I think it was even before the Stadium Series, and there was already a heated rivalry, and a lot of people were very interested. But ever since then, club hockey in North Carolina is boomed really well. You're talking like App State, UNC Wilmington, UNC Charlotte, NC State, UNC. Like, you're seeing this growth of club hockey being just ramped up more. And of course, it helps when the Hurricanes are playing really well. You got a lot of the Triangle High School teams are making their own club teams as well. Hockey has just grown over the last few years with the success of the Hurricanes. So to be able to see, the club teams being able to go up against alumni, it's fun to see. You get to see the names that you haven't seen in a while take the ice wearing Hurricanes jerseys once again. And the fact is against, a local university club hockey team that everyone knows, because, UNC's won titles, NC State's won titles for club. And it's fun just to be able to help build those guys up too, because you want them to feel like that they're important. And just being able to give the Icepack the opportunity that UNC had, it's very, very cool. And the fact you get to do it at the Lenovo Center, which is, for those guys, I mean, they've already played on the ice before, some of the guys have, but maybe some of them haven't had a chance yet, if they're newer to the team this year. But now you get to do it against, the local, Stanley Cup champion team. Yes, it's back in 2006, but it's still pretty exciting to have. So, yes, make sure December 20th to, when it comes out today, make sure to get your tickets for this game. There's like a lot of different options, like I said. Monday, January 13th, 7 p.m. puck drop, with the Eric Staal jersey stuff, Chuck a Puck, auctions, raffles. There's going to be so much going on. And you can see former Hurricanes. We're talking the big name guys as well. So it's definitely very exciting. Make sure to go to, honor Eric, celebrate the alumni, but also go and support the NC State Icepack as well. So make sure to go check that out on NC State on the Icepack's Twitter, X, Facebook, website. There's a lot of places you can go check this out at, and make sure to get your tickets and be there for sure, because that's going to be a fun night on Monday at 7 p.m. at Lenovo for the Icepack against the Canes Alumni. Now, well, guys, that will wrap up the Friday episode of Watching Hurricanes. Thank you for making this your first listen. Your second listen, well, you can find Locked On Fantasy Hockey. Become a fantasy hockey expert and get the edge over your league mates with daily tips from Steal and Flip. Find Locked On Fantasy Hockey on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Now, if you keep everything that I got going on, well, you can find me on One True Zach on X. The podcast is LO_Hurricanes. I am also on Blue Sky at the Zachary Martin. I have a link tree in both of my bios where you can check out my articles at the Hockey Writers, or just go to thehockeywriters.com, search Zach Martin, and you can find my author page over there. If you want to check out my other podcast, well, on all podcast platforms and on YouTube, just search the Searchcast, and you'll find it there. For this show, Locked On Hurricanes on Spotify, Apple, Google, wherever you listen, follow, subscribe, leave a 5-star rating and review, because if you do, I might just read it on the show. For YouTube, Locked On Hurricanes, subscribe, Hit the bell notification to make sure you don't miss an episode. Hit the thumbs up button. Let me know if you like the episode as well. Share it with all other Caniacs who become everydayers just like you. But I hope everyone enjoyed the Friday episode of Locked On Hurricanes. Hope everyone enjoys the game tonight against the Washington Capitals. Hopefully we can see a third straight win for your Carolina Hurricanes. Hope everyone has a great weekend. And until next time, as always, let's go Canes.